Welcome to the Refine and Shine, the podcast dedicated to mastering the art of continuous improvement and optimizing every aspect of your life. I'm Angelina Rivera, your host, and together we'll uncover the secrets to refining our lives, our habits, and our processes to unlock our inner brilliance. Join us on Refine and Shine, where we'll delve deep into achieving more in life without the burnout and without all the stress. This podcast is your platform for a more fulfilling life through continuous improvement and personal growth. In each episode, I and a diverse array of guests discuss practical strategies for up-leveling every aspect of your life. From developing good habits and organizing your space to refining your mindset and personal goals, we're going to explore it all. Our guests share personal stories about the systems they've developed or systems they've used and the tweaks they've made in their lives when refinement was needed, allowing them to truly shine. Listen to Refine and Shine to learn how you can implement continuous improvement techniques in your daily routine, develop and maintain healthy habits that lead to success and satisfaction, organize your life to reduce the stress and increase your productivity, foster a growth mindset that propels you to new heights. My mission is to inspire you to take bold action, make positive changes, and become the best version of yourself. Whether you're aiming to elevate your career, nurture meaningful relationships, or enhance your overall well-being, Refine and Shine is your guiding light. With over 25 years of experience in continuous improvement, I help businesses streamline their processes, establish efficient work areas, and implement standard work protocols. I have trained over 600 individuals and teams in process improvement, optimizing workflows, and enhancing overall operational efficiency. Tune in every week as we embark on an enlightening journey, exploring paths to refinement and illuminating the way to shine in every area of our lives. Subscribe now and join us on this journey to polish your life and let your best self shine through. Thank you for joining us on Refine and Shine. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Refine and Shine. I have an amazing guest who, when you hear all the things that she has created, you're just going to be like, wow, this is incredible. My guest today is Cindy Witteman. She is a passionate force for good, an award-winning author, a media powerhouse, and a tireless advocate for those who need it most. Based in San Antonio, Texas, Cindy is a founder and editor-in-chief of Force magazine, an international best-selling publication reaching readers in over 13 countries. She's also the creator, visionary, and host of Little Give TV show. She is a 5-time best-selling author and proud 2025 Author of the Year finalist. Cindy's storytelling is known for the raw authenticity and powerful impact. Her work has earned her numerous accolades, including the Trailblazer Award and back-to-back International Impact Book Awards, solidifying her reputation as a bold voice for transformation and hope. Cindy's journey is rooted in real-life challenges and overcoming odds. As a former single mom and facing overwhelming odds, she turned adversity into action by founding Divorced Single Parents Incorporated, which is in 2017, which is a nonprofit organization that provides vehicles to single parents at no cost. Her mission is personal, and she's deeply committed to helping others regain independence, stability, and a sense of purpose. As an action mastery specialist, Cindy equips people with the tools and mindset they need to take meaningful steps towards their goals, whether she's coaching clients, speaking on stages, publishing powerful stories, or connecting with her global audience. She inspires change through gratitude, grit, and fearless positivity. When she's not uplifting others, she's all about family. She treasures time with her beautiful blended family of 6 children and 5 grandchildren, embraces life's adventures with passion, including her love of beekeeping, which I think is so exciting. She believes that every little gift creates a ripple effect, and she is on a mission to make waves of positive change around the world. And so I'm super excited. That was such a mouthful because you have created so many great things. So thank you, Cindy, for being on today.
Thank you for having me. I really, really am so grateful to be here.
I just love that you have all of these things that you've created, and it hasn't always been easy, right? I mean, just to talk about, you created the nonprofit organization coming from being going through as a single parent. So can you just tell us about where you were in your journey and how you were able to create all of these beautiful things that you've created?
Yeah, I mean, I think to understand where I am today, it's really one of those things you kind of got to go back. So I was actually raised by a single mom and myself, which we went through a lot of struggles and we didn't have running water, electricity sometimes. We had a lot of people hand us down clothes and food and sometimes, pay our electric bill or whatever we needed. So had already grown up in that home. And I'd always promised myself that I would never, ever, ever become a dreaded single mom. Well, it fast forward when I got married very young to escape the poverty situation, I ended up unfortunately in a domestic violence relationship. And in that, I was in that relationship for almost 10 years. And one day I was just watching Dr. Phil, and Dr. Phil said, it's better to come from a broken home than it is to grow up in one. And in that moment, I realized that by trying to do right by my daughters and staying in that marriage because they were not being abused, it was only me, that I was actually teaching them that I was doing the wrong thing. I was teaching them that it's okay to be treated that way. So in that moment, as soon as I heard those words, I stood up, I got a basket of clothes, a bag of diapers, my daughters, and we left to a very uncertain journey. So that's kind of the start off to where my story began.
Oh, well, I think that's so amazing. And I can relate. I grew up with a single mom, and it was something like I didn't ever want to have that for my children. And there were times when things were got really, really tough between my husband and I had to step away. We didn't end up getting a divorce. Ended up going through some counseling, and he actually, he was an alcoholic, and became sober. But it took you have to be the one to make the change, and it starts with us. And although we don't want to have our children in a bad situation, or we want to hold on because we had a hard situation, growing up with the government cheese and waiting in line for peanut butter and the bread and all the things that I can understand that. And I understand so deeply what you're saying. And from all of that, then you created all these amazing things. So when you like took off with your children, how did that look like? Where did you go, and how did you start from just starting creating all these things? You just had your car and your children, and then you created all these wonderful things.
Yeah, so I actually left that situation and I went off. I stayed at my friend's house for one night, and I was luckily able to secure a new apartment by the next morning. So I was able to, that night that I left, secure a job and an apartment. So I moved into my new apartment and I had my girls there. And so that's what it started off like. We had a one-bedroom apartment for all of us. We didn't have any furniture. I didn't take anything with me, as I mentioned. So then it was just building from there, just building and building. But in that journey where I was struggling and I was working two jobs and I was putting myself through college and I was selling plasma, twice a week just to put food on the table and help to take care of my girls. I realized that, you know what? Single parenthood is not a choice. And oftentimes, it's not a choice, and people don't wake up in the morning and say, you know what I want to be today? I want to be a single parent. Like that's not a choice. Usually it's something else that happens that causes the single parenthood. And so once I realized that and that all that stigma I remember having myself kind of washed away, and I knew that once I got anywhere near any kind of success, that I was going to help single parents in need.
I love that. I love that. And so with this nonprofit organization that you have for single parents, what is that about, and how do you do it and raise money and all the things for it?
Yeah, so in 2017, I was thinking through what I was going to do to help single parents, and I really thought about my primary needs. And I realized that one of my primary needs was that car. Like without that car, there's no way I could have driven myself to where I needed to go and get my daughters. It really would have hindered my success. So I was literally at dinner one night when the idea hit me, and I stood up at the table and I said, "That's it. I'm going to give away cars to single parents." And the person who was my fiance at the time, now he's my husband, he said, sit back down. You are not giving away anything. You know what the liability issues are for that? That is not a thing. So I listened very intently. And then I went home that night and I built the business plan and I started the website within 24 hours.
I love that about you, is that you are just like, you have your mindset on something and you just go after it, and then you just make changes. You sit down and you're like, everything is like within 24 hours. I think that's so
Yeah, it's
amazing.
just like It's when you gotta act, because I know what happens a lot of times is you might have the most brilliant idea. You might really want something, but what we do is we talk ourselves out of it. So I know for me and my personality that I have to act right then and there before I talk myself out of it. And then you also, when you have ideas like this, like giveaway cars to single parents, at the time I had this idea, I was still a single parent myself. I was driving a vehicle that had over 125,000 miles on it that I bought for $3,500 cash from a friend. So this is not the level of success you would need to achieve to be giving away cars. But I just knew that, like, if I listened to everybody else whisper and I listened to the other people on the other side of the room that said this is a dumb idea, that it wasn't going to get done. So I had to take action right then and there. So that's exactly what I did. And we gave away a car less than a month later.
Oh, wow. That's so amazing. And how did you raise the money for that?
Yeah, so the very first car I bought with my very own money, which was it went to a gentleman named John Cano, who was hit by a drunk driver. And in that accident, unfortunately, not only did he lose his car, he lost his wife and his leg. So he became a handicapped single dad overnight. So I used my own funds, my own savings to buy that vehicle for him, and he's still driving it to this day. But as far as securing funding for future giveaways, what we do is we do a lot of community funding. So people could donate $1, $5, $10,000, and that money goes directly back. It's 100% in, 100% out, meaning that we don't use any of the money for overhead costs. So then we take that money and we will either partner with a dealership to buy the vehicle at cost, or sometimes we had one time where Carvana actually donated the entire car, which was amazing. But we've partnered with Red McCombs, who gave us the cars at cost. We've partnered with Service King, who helped us restore a car. One time we got 4 vehicles donated that were totaled through State Farm. And then we used recycled rides to buy the parts. And then we used Service King to put the parts on. And so just this huge community comes together to give these vehicles to these individuals. And we pay for everything, the car from bumper to bumper, and plus we pay for all of the tax, title, and license. So that doesn't hinder them later on whenever they have to pay their taxes.
I love that. I love that. And I love that you shared that like it's not just, most people would think, oh, single parents is just for the people that have don't have got divorced or things like that. But you also help people that maybe became like you said, single parents is not a choice, and it could be something that they've lost a loved one. And I love that the first person was somebody that like went through a significant tragedy, but then you went out there and helped them. I love that, and
Yeah.
that they're still doing it, driving that car today.
Yeah, 8.5 years later, they're still driving that same vehicle, and he refuses to sell it because it's so sentimental to him. So it's just things like that when you know that you're in the right place at the right time.
And then from that, you did have this the Little Give, the TV show. And so how did that come about? Because you just have all these great things. I mean, you have the Course magazine, all the things. So how did you just keep thinking of all these things to create?
So in the midst of the Driving Single Parents, when I started that nonprofit, I realized suddenly I had a fear of public speaking. And so, how can you be the spokesperson and the founder and CEO of a nonprofit and not be willing to speak about it? I mean, so news wanted to take interviews, podcast, all things. I would be shaking. I hated it. I was sweating. I was felt so scared to death. And so I dealt with that for a little while, but then I realized like this is really holding us back. Like how if we're already doing this well with me not doing all the speaking engagements I'm getting invited to do, I mean, how well would we do if I did it? So I just decided, I was like, I'm just going to do it afraid. So I made a commitment to myself that I was just going to start saying yes. And 3 weeks later, I got offered the opportunity to write in a book as a anthology, and it was called Shattering the Stigma of Single Motherhood, which, I mean, hello. So I did that so scared. I wrote that book. I wrote in that book. Very short later, I got offered another book opportunity. I started writing in that book, and that one was How to Overcome Self-Sabotage. Well, again, I could write like 10 books on self-sabotage. So I decided, okay, it feels right. I'm just gonna say yes, do it afraid, right? So I did the second book. Well, in the midst of that second book, I was offered the opportunity to have my own TV show. And of course, I said, absolutely not. Are you out of your mind? I hate public speaking. I don't know anything about TV. I talk too fast. I don't even know the right words to say. I could never do something like that. But then it came back to me. Ugh. I made that commitment to myself that I was going to do it afraid. And so far, many of the things that I did afraid, I had the most fun and success and enjoyment out of things that I did with shaky hands. So I said, "Oh, well, what if I did do a TV show? What would I?" And they said, what if we allow you to pick the premise of the show? What if we allow you to pick the name? What if you could pick your own guest? What if you could pick everything about the show? Would you do it then? So I sat down with myself and I thought, what would make it worth it for me to sit in front of that camera and do it afraid? And I decided little gives, showing people that there's good in the world and also showing people that you don't have to make a $10,000 check to make a difference. There's little things that you can do every day, even if it's not monetarily. So that's how Little Give was born. And I've been doing that for over 2 years now.
And then came in Force Magazine. How did that come about?
Here we go again. So, in the midst of all that I'm doing, right? So now you know already at this point, I've already written 5 best-selling books. I've already done the nonprofit. And I'm doing that successfully. I already have the TV show. I already have all these things I'm doing. I have a family, all the things. And then somebody at a networking event said to me, "Oh, wow, you do a lot. So what's next for you?" And honestly, I thought, are you kidding me? I have to do more? Am I not doing enough? But then it wouldn't leave my head. I kept thinking, what is next for you? Are you done? Is that this it? That's it. Sit, lay your hat down, Cindy, you're done. I thought, no way, I can't be done. So I wrote down on a 3x5 card every night before bed, what's next for you? And I read it every morning and I wrote it down 3 nights. And the third night, I had a dream that I founded Force Magazine. And I saw the cover, the font, exactly how it is today. I saw it in my dream and I just woke up in the morning, like kind of laughing, like, what a joke. You can't found your own magazine. You don't even like to read. Like it's just not even, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love my podcast. I love my Audible books, but I do not have time to sit down and just like read a book, and nor do I want to. So I said, that's ridiculous. But then I thought, well, I started to write it down. I said, well, is it? Could I? So I wrote it down. It still felt right. So I reached out to the person who published it, or the publishing company who published my books, and I asked them, do you think you can help me start a magazine? And she was like, sure, I think we can do that. So there we go. Force Magazine was born, and the first copy was released a little less than 2 months later. So it was like 45 days, I think.
Oh, wow. I think that's amazing. And you created all these amazing things, but like, and it goes back to this, here you were raised in a single parent childhood, all the things that you had to go through in life. And then of course, later finding yourself, you marry to help yourself out of poverty, but then end up in a domestic abusive relationship. And so you do all of these things, and it doesn't, people, instead of having that, like, oh my gosh, why do things always happen to me? That, that type of mentality, you're like, how can I show the gifts that I have and help them to make others, for the giving? I don't know if I said that right, but do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, you said it right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so true. And it's one of the things I ask people, or the type of people I like to have on my show are people like me who take their pain and they turn it into purpose to help others. And I think that's really like a theme and all the things. And people always say, you do so many different things, but they're really, none of them are different. They're all the same. They're all of being service to others, and they're all spreading kindness and also highlighting what's good in the world. That's what I do with all of my platforms and everything that I do.
And I love that how you said that, because you can, yes, it's all of it's all part, your whole mission's the same, to help others. And there may be people who just love to watch YouTube. And so you're reaching the audience that way, with the Little Give. And then there could be people that just love to read, and then they can do that with all your books, or Force Magazine. And then there could be people who just, there's all types of things that you have that people can pull from. And I think that that's important because you're meeting them where they're at.
Yes, absolutely. And when I first started the TV show, I had so many people come and say, "Oh my gosh, Cindy, I loved your episode. I love what you're doing, but I don't have time to sit down and watch a TV show every week." So I said, "Okay." So I spun it off into a podcast. So now, not only am I capturing the viewers with the TV show, but also getting that good content, kindness, and spreading joy and the good in the world in people's ears through the podcast version.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. In fact, I was super excited because this month I actually got to be on Force Magazine.
There
So
we are.
yeah, super excited. And I just love that you're not, I love how you have it all set up too. is that you offer, scholarships, you offer all of these things, and the people, there's just so much things that you do. And so you just have this really kind heart. And I just wanted to know, like, how did you, through all the things that you went through, now you are remarried, and how did that work? Where did you feel scared, or how did that all work out? Because I know that some people were like, if she was doing so well and she was able to achieve all these things, some people are fearful of getting into a relationship after having a really terrible one. So how did all that work out, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, well, I was terrified. My husband asked me out every single day for an entire year before I said yes. Every single solitary day. And it just so happened that I was actually supposed to go on a date with somebody else. That person had to work late. And so then I ended up being stuck somewhere, and it happened to be that he texted, "Hey, I'm right here. You want to come by and hang out?" And I was like, "I told you I'm not going out with you." And then he was like, well, "No, no, just as friends." So I went, and we've been together ever since. But again, after that, then we were together for a long period of time, and then he asked me to marry him every single day for another year before I finally said yes and agreed to marry him. And then again, whenever it was, time to like, okay, I'm going to say yes, but am I really going to do it? But even to this day, at least twice a week, he asked me, "Will you marry me?" And we've been married for 7 years now. And so this all took place 11 years total. So I was very scared, and I'm still scared. Even to this day, I think, oh my goodness, everything is going so well. It could just be at a drop of a hat. But that's just me, my fight or flight, having grown through poverty and wondering, where are we going to eat, or when's our electricity going to get turned back on, or having to wash my underwear in the sink at school, things like that I had to. And then being in the domestic violence and always being in fight or flight, or being ready for the next mood to change, or all those things that I've grown through over the years still affect me to this day, even though I don't allow them to negatively affect my who I am, but I also accept me for who I am and what I've been through.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I just think it's, everything that you're sharing is amazing. And do you also do coaching as well? Coaching other
I
women?
don't, I do action mastery. So what I do is I'm an action mastery specialist. So I only help 4 people per year, just to kind of help them get through the action part of it. Because what I found over the years and everything that I've done and I do is that the biggest hurdle for people is taking the action. So they'll want to do something, but they won't actually take the action to get there. And then they get upset that they're not moving forward the way they want to. So I have a system that I've set up that really helps people grow through what they're trying to work through.
I love that. And just like you said, like, and you're a master at this. And I think I even read that you were the action mastery, right? Uh,
Mhm.
but when you set something up, like you've created businesses or nonprofits, everything that you've done, it's like within 24 hours and some stuff, making a decision and then acting on it, even to getting some things may have taken 45 days, but that's still a relatively short time. And the fact that you have a thought, you have a concept, and I believe that our creator gives us those things for a reason. And then how is it to us that we don't, he gives us his gifts and then we don't even act upon them. And so I love that you're helping people do that, because I can hear people um who say, "Oh, I wish I could do this, or I wish I could do that." Well, why can't you? Like, you can
Hmm.
do daily actionable steps. It's not to say that you have to spend 12 hours a day working on something, but you can do little steps every day to work on that plan, and you help them with that. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and there's the magic is number 3. Every single day you set your goal, and then every day you wake up and you do 3 things to get yourself close to that goal. Even if it's just a phone call, even if it's just a conversation, even if it's writing it out, no matter what, every day 3 things to help yourself get there. What I find is, have you ever heard the expression, how do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time. And people get so overwhelmed because they feel like, oh my gosh, this huge elephant. I'm never going to get there. I'm never going to eat it all. But if they just stop and take one bite at a time, eventually you'll get there. But if you don't and you stay in the room and panic with this elephant in there, guess what's going to happen? Nothing. You're not going to ever be able to do what you need to do. So I always have people set their goals, and then every single day you're going to do 3 things, no matter how small, to get yourself closer to the goal. And then once you start to really realize, I did that, and I did that, and I can do it now. Look, I could do this. Once your brain starts winning, you start realizing, oh, I'm winning. I got this. And you get those small wins, then you start taking bigger bites of the elephant. And then you start really growing through the next step to get, and then more. more downloads, you get more information in on how to make it better, how to fine tune your idea, what you really want. And you get that message really clear. And then boom, you're like, wow, I can't believe I accomplished all these things.
So not only do you help them with their action, you help them get clarity and get real clear on their vision.
Absolutely. Because that's another thing people say, I don't need to write it down, Cindy, because it's all in here. But yeah, but you know how many thoughts you get every day and it's all swirling around in there. And until you actually put pen to paper and write out what you really want. And a lot of people, you can ask them what they don't want, and they can say, I don't want to be poor, and I don't want this, and I don't want that. But when you say, okay, but what do you want? Usually people say money. And so it's like, okay, you want money? Here's $5. We good? No, you're not good because you got to get really clear on exactly what it is you're trying to accomplish. Because if I want to go right now to meet you at a Mexican restaurant and you tell me to meet you there tonight at 7, then, and that's it. That's all you tell me. How do I get there? I don't know what the name of the restaurant is. I don't have directions. I don't have the address. I don't. So all you have to do is get really clear on which Mexican restaurant we're going to go to. Then I can take the steps to find the directions, to get in the car, to drive myself there and take all those steps too. But if you just have this idea, let's meet in a Mexican restaurant, you're never going to get there. I'll just drive around San Antonio forever. There's 150,000 Mexican restaurants here.
Yeah, there is. It's a but yes, I love that. I love how you put it all together. And with the people that you coach in this program and this type of uh do you just do it this type of platform? Do you do it virtually or do people can people connect with you? Do they are they just have to be local to San Antonio?
I do virtual. I really like the virtual component because it works really well with everybody's schedules. Most people that I work with are very busy. And so it works well with them with their schedules. But I have gone and had coffee chats and gone on walks with clients. I think that really helps sometimes if there's somebody local. So we just really try to like tailor it to the person, which is why I only do 4 a year, is because when I commit to something, I'm 100% in on that. So I'm not overwhelming myself call after call, problem after problem. I want to make sure that if I'm going to be a specialist on helping you create action and change in your life, then I am going to put my focus and all of my energy into that, not 50 people.
Yeah, I love that. And I heard somewhere from I forget what it was, but it was something like, you know, people say there's too many coaches, there's too many coaches. Well, if you find a good coach and you and that coach mesh together, that's the coach for you because
Yep.
even if there's too many coaches, or even like if you know saying I want to become a coach and when I or even a podcast, let's take the podcast because I was like, well, there's so many people that have podcasts already. Why should I do it when so many people are? But the thing is that I had to take the action, set the date, and also to know that so many it doesn't my message that I'm giving to others is not going to be the same as everybody else's, or how I do my
That's right.
podcast is going to be different. And that's the same, that's the fear, right? And you help people go through like getting clear of what they want, helping them walk them through, helping them take actionable steps. And then, you know, is your program a 6 month or a year or whatever the plan is? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, I usually offer 3 options to the client and then they decide what works best for them.
Yeah,
So
I love that.
it could be 3 months, could be 6 months, could be a year. It's completely up to the client and really where they want to go. But I don't offer anything less than 3 months because I feel like you can't even really get clear on your message and then start taking the steps to see the wins in anything less than that. So that's
Yeah,
what I do.
I love
But
that.
talking about what you just said, running back to you saying with you being a podcaster and like, well, why should I do it? But you're right, your message is never going to be the same as somebody else's. And a quick story is when I told you I had that fear of public speaking and I had been doing it afraid for so long. I had a meeting with Lisa Nichols. Do you know who that is?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so I had a meeting with her and she said, you know what your problem is, Cindy? The problem is you don't have a problem, you don't have a fear of public speaking. You don't have a problem speaking at all. She said, the problem is that you take the microphone and you put it to your mouth and you're waiting for your brain to give you the message on what to say correctly. You need to stop doing that. She says, from now on, when you speak, I want you to get on stage and I want you to take the microphone. I want you to put it to your soul and all the right words will always come out exactly how they're meant to. Ever since I got that message, I have been so much better with speaking and it's not scary because I'm not overthinking or over planning or trying to be something I'm not. It's like I'm just going to show up at this podcast with you today and I'm going to deliver whatever comes out. And I hope your audience resonates with it. I hope they like it. But you know, that's all the right words will always come out. And I love that she said that and it really helped me. So when you're doing these podcasts, all of your right words are also coming out, which is really incredible.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing that because that's so like I was on with somebody earlier and they're like, "What are the questions?" I'm like, "I don't do questions. I just do it from the heart, and I pray that whatever comes from the heart, that's the conversations that we're gonna have because I feel that then it's more authentic, right? We're not rehearsing, we're not trying to remember a speech or trying to remember all of these things, and it's meant for the way that the conversation goes is the way that it was meant to and intended to be.
Mexico.
Yeah.
I love that. I do the same thing with my TV show. It's just like I don't script anything. I honestly want the audience to feel like they're having hearing two friends have a chat that maybe there's something they can learn from it. So that's the way I roll too. So I love that you're doing that as well. Super authentic.
Yes, I love that. So with all the things that you have going on and everything, um, with the single, I think it's a single parent, the vehicle, the nonprofit organization, is that
Driving single
also
parents.
okay? Is that also all do you just do within San Antonio or how does that work? Just
I
curious.
do just Bear County for now, and eventually one day we want to expand, working on funding and everything else to make that happen. But right now we're really focusing on Bear County.
Okay, that's awesome. I think that, because if it's too big, then you have the like liability and all the other things, transportation costs and all the other things like that as well.
Yep. And a lot of different laws in all the different states. And yeah, it's a lot different. So focusing here in Bear County, we've been doing that for almost 8.5 years now, and it's working really well. So plan to stick to that for now.
And then how long have you been doing Force Magazine?
We just hit a year and a half.
And then Little Gib, 2 years,
Yeah, almost 2.5.
2.5. Wow. So many things. And the thing is that you're still not only that, we talked right before we started off the air, is that you're still making time for your family. And we even read it in your bio. You still have time for your family. You're still, dating your spouse and all of the things, spending time with your grandchildren. And so how do you balance it all?
Well, I run my calendar. My calendar does not run me. And I think that's really important for an entrepreneur or somebody who has a mind like mine, where like you're always coming up with ideas and things and thoughts. It's really important to not allow other people to dictate to you what time you're doing things. You need to have your calendar really tight because if you can really get good at time management, then you can manage a lot more than what you can if you get caught up scrolling on TikTok, or you prioritize a call with a client over your family, or you cancel plans with family because you got somebody who wants to talk to you, or get a speaking engagement. All those things. I'm very intentional with my time, and that really helps me make sure that I'm able to do it all and not get burned out, and also still love everything that I do every day when I wake up.
I love that. I love that. And that's actually what I coach in is time management. And the thing is you got to make sure that you don't get burned out. You schedule time for yourself, your self-care, making sure that you got your meal schedule, when you're going to eat and not let other people just take away from you so you get burned out. And then I always say the next second thing is always to make sure you schedule time for your family, the date
Mhm.
nights with your spouse, the time with your children. Because if we're putting work first, what does that reflect to our family? And I know that, and I think that maybe you can relate to this, but as a growing up in the type of, with my mom working multiple jobs and all the things, is that she didn't get to spend that one-on-one time all the time. And I saw her running ragged, and I always told myself, I don't want to be like, I want to make sure I intentionally schedule time to be with my family. And it wasn't always easy. And that there were times like, especially when my husband had to medically retire. And so it's just my income. And it was stressful at that time, to go from, a good income to down to just one income. And those are the things that I was like, no matter what, though, I'm going to make sure I spend time intentionally with my kids, but, all of those types of things, because I say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I have to work. I'm sorry. Your kids are going to grow up hating the word work. They're going to think it's a bad letter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really believe too that what are we doing it for, right? What are we running for? What are we working for? What are we working so that we can take care of our family? And then so often I hear entrepreneurs and business owners say, "Oh, I don't have time for my family. I have to work because I have to make the money." It's like, well, you're missing the point, because what you want the money for is for your family, but yet your family's right there. and they want to spend time with you. So there has to be a really good mix, and you have to be really, really big about your boundaries. So I love what you said about spending time with family, because I always say family is the most important thing in the world, and there's no dollar that could buy that time with my family.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, I wanted to tell you, thank you so much for your time, and I'm going to make sure that I share all your links. But before I shut down, we stop the podcast. I always love to have my guests give some type of a word, a phrase, or a book to read, or some type of action that they can take today in order to refine and shine.
Can I give two?
Yeah, you can give two.
So my favorite quote is, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And that's by Henry Ford. And I love that quote because it's true. If you think you can do something, you will. And if you think you can't do something, you won't. And no matter which one it is, you're going to be right. So I absolutely love that quote. But I also want to share a book that I really like. Again, I know I said I don't like to read, but you can get this on Audible. And it's called The Power of One More by Ed Milet. And it really is. It's a fantastic book, and I absolutely love it. So I'd love to share that with your audience.
That's just funny because I have it right here. I'm just reading it
Oh,
myself. Yeah, and I love
do you
that
love
quote.
it so far?
Yeah, I love it. I love it because I read it a long time ago when it first came out, but then I wanted to, kind of like
Mhm.
refresh my mind. Because we can all go through like life can be great, but then we have like uh triggers or trauma that comes up or something that happens, an episode or something, and then you're like, okay, we can get into a negative space. And so using that book because it's a quick read for me. And then I could just pull up one chapter. I don't have to read from beginning to end. I can just pick up one chapter and refresh my mind and like, why do I do it? Put in one more rep, make one more call and all of those things to get me out of, my headspace. And I love the quote from Henry Ford too, because that's like, it's true.
It's so true.
So,
The
um,
power's within you. That is the main thing, is the power within you. All the answers are already there. Everything that you need, you already have. And all you have to do is just believe in yourself enough to just to go out and get it.
yes, yes, I love that. I just recently heard Trent Shelton say something kind of similar, which is I'm the problem and I'm the solution. So,
I like that.
either way, you can still do things. If you have we can blame everybody else for our situations. We can do all the things, but we also can remember that we're the solution too. And so,
That's right. I love Trent Shelton. I like that quote too. That's awesome.
well, I thank you so much for your time. I'll make sure I have all your links on the show notes. And so, just want to again thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so grateful. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Refine and Shine. We hope you find valuable insights and inspiration to fill your journey of continuous improvement. Remember, the key to success lies in refining your processes and letting your inner brilliance shine. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated and helps us reach more listeners like you who are eager to refine and shine in all areas of life. Stay connected with us on social media for updates and additional resources and behind the scenes content. We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to reach out with any suggestions, questions, or success stories you'd like to share. As we wrap up, remember that the power to transform your life lies within you. Keep striving for growth, embracing change, and seeking opportunities to refine your skills. Together, let's continue to shine bright and make a positive impact in the world. Until next time, keep refining and keep shining.